Hey, Jason.
Hey, Ted.
January 13th, 2024. How many leads has this been for you? About a month and a half in?
I think I've only had 4 or 5, maybe 5
For this year. Right.
for
Okay.
this
So
year.
4 or 5 leads for this year, plus 10 or so from,
Yeah, 10 or 11 in December.
okay. Ooh, they're going to be, hopefully that'll throttle up because they're not even going to get you to 180 this year at this rate.
Right, right. So it's been a little slow the last couple of days, but I think weather's been a little mild.
Okay. So
Maintenances have died down, so they're not seeing as many people.
it still seems like you haven't lost any and you're still winning most of them right out of
Yeah,
the gate. Like one call close winning them.
right, right.
Um, so congratulations on this latest one. Tell me the story.
Thank you. Yeah, so had a lady call in last night, Friday night, to the office. They had a local company come out to do the maintenance, and they found a cracked heat exchanger. So this local company, this is an Airbnb. So the local company say, hey, we can install this tomorrow, Saturday, if you want to. Trying to, rush them into a decision. And I guess the price, because everything's expensive right now, caused them to hit the pause button just a little bit. Plus, there's nobody living there, and they don't have a tenant for this weekend. But there is some people coming next week, sometime middle of next week. So anyway, she called the office to set it up. The office called me or texted me and asked me if I was willing to run it today, and I was like, of course. They knew I would. And so I called her to set up a time. And so we called her, and she could meet me there today at lunchtime. She volunteered the information that, if the price is reasonable, the time frame as far as when you can install it's reasonable, I have no reason why we wouldn't move forward. So I said, okay, just to clarify, so if you see something you like and it's affordable and we can install it in a timely manner, you could tell me yes or no while I'm there tomorrow. Yes.
So she
So she said,
volunteered that and
right,
you took the opportunity to lock that down since she was volunteering it anyway.
right. So usually it wouldn't be that direct if she hadn't volunteered it that early on,
Right.
especially on the phone. But she volunteered it, so I just clarified her stance. And then, so this morning, I was supposed to go at 12 noon, and kind of suspected that she says she's working from home, can't meet you until 12 noon. Then she calls this morning and says, my schedule's freed up now. If you could come earlier, that'd be great. So I headed on over, got there about 10 o'clock, I believe, or 10:15 maybe. And just clarified up front with her about our timing.
Had she looked at the video?
She had looked at the video. I asked her about that. I did email her a video last night. So I emailed her well, she's just wanting to replace the furnace. And I found out that she had just replaced the air conditioner less than 2 years ago. And figured out which company it was that had sold her that and who's been servicing.
Okay, so the
And
same
so,
company that sold her the air conditioning is who's servicing her equipment and told her she had a cracked heat exchanger and tried to leverage that into a fear-based sale.
right,
Okay.
right. And they put a lot of emphasis on safety. The so So like I said, once I got there, so I did send her the email, especially wanted her to watch the duct pressure video. Got there and I asked her if she watched that, and she did. And then I also asked her just to clarify, how are we on time? She says, we're good on time. I said, you also agreed that you could give me an answer today. She said, yeah, I'll give you an answer today. I said, okay, great. And then, anyway, so because it's the Airbnb, I asked her is there any comfort concerns that she has? It's not any comfort concerns, but her main things were three things. One is safety, because that other company kept hitting on safety a lot because of the cracked heat exchanger. Dependability and reliability was another. And then the third one was price. She didn't want to overpay. And so I just asked her, clarify that. Are you looking for a cheap price or just good value? She said, well, I want good value. It's okay. Can you tell me a little bit more? And then she said, well, last time we were rushed to make a decision on this air conditioner because it was hot. We had people coming in or they were already there, and we had to do something fast. And so we ended up paying way too much for an air conditioner. And so this
How did
time
she know that it was way too much?
it felt like it was way too much because it was $15,000 just for a straight AC.
Yeah,
And
single stage AC,
condenser coil.
$15,000 sounds like it probably too much.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
Somebody's
So,
college tuition got paid out of that one.
right. So she felt like it was much of the same going on with this. So, well, how much did you
How
think
much for the furnace?
So I asked her how much the furnace was, or how much she thought the furnace should be. She said, well, I got a price for $9,000, but I felt like should be like $4,000. So okay, how'd you come up with
They
that
should
number?
give it to her for free because she already paid for it with that air conditioner replacement.
How'd you come up with that number? She said, well, I had a friend that just bought a furnace recently and they only paid $4,000. So okay. And what company was that? She said, well, they use this other company. She named them. I said, you got a price from that company? Well, no, they're actually coming out after you. Okay.
Oh. Gosh, good for you. Okay. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, they're coming out after me.
Yeah. So anyway, so she did not want, well, they had disabled the furnace, she said, and then, so she didn't want to pay for the static pressure because we'd have to figure all that out.
How big is the
And
furnace?
then the furnace was 100,000 BTUs.
Okay, and how big was the air conditioner?
It was 3 ton,
And how big is the house?
about 1,900 square feet.
Okay. Everybody that knows these numbers knows what's going on now.
Yeah. So the first, so the first thing I said was the furnace oversized. Anybody tell you that? It's like, no, nobody told me that. So they didn't tell you that 100,000 BTUs is oversized? She said, no, they didn't tell me. Okay.
They talked to you at all about why that heat exchanger might have cracked?
Well, I didn't
No,
go
they
into
didn't
that
talk
just
to me
yet.
about why that heat exchanger might have cracked.
Yeah, I didn't go into that just yet. I was loading my bullets, my gun
Yeah.
with bullets. Okay. And then, but she said, well, this gas line's not cutting. They have to change that.
Oh, she had a flex line or something?
She had flex line, but there is some code improvements need to be made, but somebody made a big deal about it, but then I explained it to her later. And then there wasn't a pan up under the unit, and you can put a pan because it was side discharge, so it needs a pan. Nobody mentioned anything about a pan. Some of the drain lines and some other things. So anyway, so I took the pictures. Her husband was upstairs, then he came down to join us and asked him the same questions and like what's important to him. And safety, like safety seems to be like the number one thing on their list because another company kept on and on. And so
They want to go
I
street
said
heat pump.
they did not want to go street heat pump.
So
And
safety is what they're telling you, but it's not what they really feeling.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, how important is safety? Oh, so you want a heat pump? No, you don't want a heat pump. Oh, so safety is not important. I mean,
right. She would love to get the gas out of the house, but she doesn't live there. She wants to make it as safe as possible without converting to a heat pump.
okay.
And she drives a Tesla.
Well, plus they got this 4-ton air conditioner outside and they're going to be finding themselves in a tough spot.
Yeah. So it's 3-ton, but
oh, it was 3-ton outside.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was 4-ton. Okay.
So anyway, so then, so safety is number one. I said, okay, well, you keep coming back to safety. So what exactly they tell you? Well, I just want to make sure that we get a unit that has all these things. They were lame. I said, let me guess. High limit switch. Say yes. Say okay. Flame rollout sensor. Yes. Okay. Pressure switch for draft inducer. Yes. Kept on and on.
Like,
and
what equipment doesn't have those things?
Right. I said, now look, if I was a really good salesperson, which I'm not, but if I were, I could embellish the features of a furnace to make it sound safer. Ours sound safer than the rest of them. But is that what you want me to do? Or would you like to hear the truth? She said, well, I'd like to hear the truth. I said, okay, well, it is law by code and law, whatever you want to say, that all these units have to have these safety features in them. They all have them. Every single one of them.
You could pay extra for each of those features if you buy from them, but everybody else is just going to include those features because they come on the equipment.
So that was helpful. And then I said, so dependability and reliability, I said, you know, you've got a comfort maker out there. Did they tell you that you have to have another comfort maker to go back in? Yeah. They said, well, they said that Comfort Maker is a good brand. It's made by Carrier. And then I pulled out my my 2 badges out of my pocket that I keep in there. It's got the Bryant and the Carrier labels on. And I said, are you familiar with Bryant? You know, Bryant's the same as Carrier. Said I hadn't heard that. Well, I'm watching him. He's Googling it while I said that, just to make sure that I was telling him the truth. And so I said, we're a Bryant dealer. I said, you still have a parts warranty on your comfort maker because it's only a couple of years old. Do you think that would make us qualified to warranty that? And they said, I don't know. So I pulled up his paper to show them that we were a factory authorized dealer and that we can warranty any products out there, especially the comfort maker. And so that was maybe a hidden objection they had in their mind or concern that they didn't want to lose a warranty. And so that was put to rest. And then we started talking about dependability as, do you know what caused that heat exchanger to crack? I said, no. I said, well, you have a 100,000 BTU furnace and your likely load is somewhere between 36 and 47,000 BTUs. For heatings, that's all you need to heat this house in where we live. And you have a 100,000 BTU furnace. So if that heat exchanger gets too hot, what do you think happens to it? And the guy goes, it cracks. Right. So is everybody else just quoting same for same? So yeah, they didn't say they were going to change anything about it. Just same for same. But it's going to have all those safety features that they want.
Well, that this old one obviously doesn't have, maybe somehow, even though it does.
And I showed them that really the smallest that we have in our market available like in a timely manner, without special ordering it, is a 70,000 BTU furnace,
Two-stage.
single stage,
Oh, see.
or you can go with the or two-stage, this 70,000, and it'll drop down to a lower speed because this is 80% furnace.
Right.
But you can drop it down into a lower speed and it'll run that speed most of the time. It would only kick into high stage if it's really cold outside. It may never do that. And so I was explaining the reliability portion of that, and then we moved on to the budget. And so again, I mean, what's your budget for this? Well, we're thinking around $4,000. I said, and again, how are you coming up with that number? Well, that's just what somebody else put in. And I said, what size did they put in? Do you know what size drive it had? Do you know what size BTUs it had?
Was it multiple stages or single stage?
Was it an attic or a crawl space? They couldn't answer any of those questions. And so I said, you know, my granddaddy's always had a saying that when he was alive, that cheap's not good and good's not cheap. So you got a decision to make, I guess, if if you just want the cheapest price. But if you would like to get a quality, I mean, you could have, there's 200 people, there's at least 200 companies in Charlotte you could have called. You called us as one of them. Why'd you call? You have good reviews. I said, anything else? She said, well, you're close. Bye. I said, anything else important to you? Well, it looks like you're a local company. And like I said, do you know that the other two companies that you're talking about are privately or owned by private equity companies? No, I didn't know that. So yeah, they're both owned by private equity groups. And then they say, well, we like to do business with a local company, small business. And so then I actually pulled up the past failure rate on the permitting department. And because I know the first company would have used that. And so I said, did the first company show you this? Show you theirs? Yes. So, okay, look, we're not anywhere near the size they are. We're a much smaller company, but here's ours. We have 0% failure rate. I said, what do you think they fail? Do you think they look at anything other than safety features? You said safety is important to you. If I had a large percentage of my jobs fail inspection, those are failed safety
inspection fails.
So then I pulled up the one that's coming after me, and their failure rate was like 12% of their jobs. I said,
safety important to you?
Right in the bottom there, it says anything over 2% is a concern for Mecklenburg County if you have higher than 2% failure rate.
And they were 12.
And they're 12%.
Okay.
But they do a whole lot more installs than we do.
But a percentage isn't a number. It's a percentage. And that percentage is 6 times what Mecklenburg County thinks is safe and reasonable to have.
And ours is what?
0.
0. Yeah. So then I said, so which one would you like for me to price out first? And they wanted me to price out both the single stage and the two-stage, both of them. I said, okay, well, sticking with our original agreement, if I give you the price, you gonna give me a yes or no while I'm here? Well, I have this other guy coming. I want to hear what they have to say. Okay. Well, that's not the agreement we had. We talked about it last night on the phone. You told me you would give me a decision while I was here. Then I asked you again when we got here, and you told me to give a decision here. And the husband said, well, she wouldn't have said that. I said, well, actually, we recorded the phone calls. Would you like for me to pull it up so you could hear what she had to say? And he said, no, that's all right. Well, I tell you what, why don't you come back after the other company leaves, and then we'll make a decision. It's okay, that's fair enough. And so she called me back, you know, an hour or so later after he left, and went back over there. I was just around the corner. Went back over there, presented the price. We were higher than the other company that just left. And then they were asking me about tax credits.
Higher than the other company for the same equipment?
She said no, they're offering Goodman. I said, do you think Goodman is synonymous with good one? Goodman and good one are two different things, but you can make that decision for yourself. I said,
It's all good, man. It's all good, man.
So now I'm not a technician, but do you think that the Goodman furnace is going to work with a Carrier air conditioner? Or would you take your chances that way, or would you rather put in something that's made by Carrier?
Yeah, I thought you were already decided you want, whatever. Good.
Right. So they already made that. So they made it. And then, but you know, it was more money than was okay. And then, so then they said, was there any tax credits? I said, did somebody mention tax credits? They tell you you can get tax credit? The other guy said that their furnace qualifies for a tax credit. I said, okay. So if they were wrong, would you want to know about it? And so I pulled up the tax thing. And first of all, you could get a rebate back from the local gas company if you put in a 95% efficient furnace, but this is 80%. And then also said it's for a match system. If you want the tax credit, you've got to replace the whole thing. Do you want to replace the whole thing? No. Okay, so no, we don't have a tax credit available for you.
Unless you want to do this crossover unit I talked about before. Now we're back in the heat pumps, which are really a lot more safe than a gas furnace.
Well,
I know. I would just, I would never have your closing rate because I just like busting people's chops too much.
So, you know, that they went ahead and just pulled the trigger on the 2-stage. And it was more money. I'll get a bit more money, and but it was still less than the single stage furnace from the other company, the big company.
Right.
So
they're getting a better furnace than they got from the people who ream them from the air conditioner, and they can get away from the people who ream them on that air conditioner so that they can start licking their wounds.
And so for anybody that's watching like the video here, I mean, it sounded like I was kind of hard on them about making a decision, but if they volunteer the information to me up front and then they give me an agreement that they'll make a decision, yes or no, I'm fine with that. And I expect them to stick to their guns. But then if they tell me something different in the end, that's when I have a little bit of trouble. And I'm not ugly about it, but I'm just like, we've got this problem here. What are we going to do about it? And can I come back a little bit later or what? But if they told me up front that, I got another company coming after you, I mean, that's a different story. And I would just probably present the price and moved on. But anyway, it's not.
Well, it sounds like the guy that came after you got them very confused.
Yeah, he was. I told him he was going to be pushy, and he was, and so that's the key. Even though I may have sounded pushy in this recording, I wasn't. Yeah. I wasn't pushy at all in the house.
No, you're just repeating what she committed to. Like right. we if we're gonna have a relationship here, you want me to tell you the truth.
Right. And so at the end, when I asked her, so why did you decide to do business with me? She said, well, you were the only one that mentioned anything about the sizing. And that makes sense to us that, you know, it only needs 40,000 BTUs to heat the space. Especially if it only takes, you know, 36,000 or less to cool the space. And nobody else brought that up. It makes sense to why that would be why the heat exchanger cracked. She said that you just had a more pragmatic approach. So I had to go look up pragmatic after I left, but I thought it was great. And you know, she just said it's more logical approach, basically, that than what other
HVAC
people were offering.
2.0, the pragmatic approach to replacing your
Right,
HVAC.
right. So it was fun for them to make a decision, spend a little bit more money, but see the value in it. And
How much more money was it?
well, $3,000 because they were really pushing the single stage. I think, you know, they were like 4 and there were 7 or something for
Okay.
the 2 stage. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess the guy thought he was going to win on the price, but he didn't.
Right. Do you think it was a business owner?
No, I think they're salespeople.
Wow, he was able to sell single stage at $4,000.
It's like the cheapest thing they got.
No wonder they're
Thanks.
getting a 12% failure rate.
Right. Yeah, that company I saw, they sells to Goodman. It's a private equity group. It's got several locations. I even hear, I didn't mention this because I don't know it to be a fact, but I've heard from territory managers that they don't pay their bills on time.
Ooh. Yeah,
So,
sounds like there's lots of shortcuts happening.
yeah.
Well,
So
maybe they need a better sales process.
maybe so.
We won't tell them.
Yeah. Sorry, they salesperson like that probably wouldn't follow it anyway. Follow the process, but some people want to do it right. You want to do it right. This is the right process.
Well, anything else?
That's it.
You rock, buddy. Thank you.